On your screen right now, we do have the QR code for the next session, which will also be run by Timmy. Um, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today. I know that life is very, very busy. We are really excited to be working with One America Financial and the American College of Financial Services to bring this free financial literacy course to our Head Start West community. And we're really, really excited and really grateful to have Timmy Joy Jorgensen, who is here to present these offerings in this sort of live format and get everyone started on this journey. So yeah, with that, we are at 2:02. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. Please feel free to keep on putting your intro in the chat, but I will pass it over to Timmy and make sure that we can get started. If you have any questions, feel free to chat me. And thank you so much again for being here.
All right, thank you. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are excited to be meeting again and taking a moment out of our busy lives to talk about financial wellness. And of course, this is just a little slice of overall wellness, but it's also maybe an easier way to identify uh, some of the things that are causing us stress or anxiety is when you notice the things that have a price tag that's sometimes a little bit easier to point to as a source of stress or anxiety. But everything in life has a price, and we're happy to kind of peek behind the curtain for an hour or so together. So, um, we are going to go through kind of four objectives for today. This is me and my teacher hat, which is fun. I don't get to teach actual humans anymore in person or outside of these kind of training sessions. So this is really fun for me. But we're going to talk about self-awareness with money. So that's the first thing that we're going to talk about. Second, we're going to talk about understanding our financial goals and values. Our third thing is understanding our money habits and motivations. And then the fourth thing we're going to talk about is learning to manage cash flow and apply financial ratios. And all of these we're going to talk about with a lens, kind of the big idea behind this is sustainability and wellness, meaning we're not necessarily thinking about how do we make the math work out perfectly. We're thinking about how do we do this in a way that is going to be best for our overall life and our overall situation. And that will involve some trade-offs, but ideally, those trade-offs, we can stop trading our maybe mental wellness or our emotional wellness or being under constant stress. We can trade those in for maybe um, just being a little more intentional and realigning some things in our life. So the first thing I want to do um, is I'm going to drop a link here. And if you guys would like to try this out, this is a quick little quiz. You may have done it if you've been in the Know Yourself, Grow Your Wealth program for a while, but it's a new edition this year and it is called the 5 Money Personalities. And so you can follow the link that I just dropped in the chat. And it's a really quick little quiz. You can just go in and you don't have to use your actual email address. You can make up anything you want. You can just say test@test.com. It's fine. Um, and then we're going to chat a little bit about, um, we're going to use this as kind of an icebreaker to get started as we talk about self-awareness with money. All right. If you could give me an indication that you are like when you come to a place where you have your thing. I'm going to put mine in the chat. You absolutely don't have to share yours, but if you feel like sharing, you can share here, or you can just kind of see what else is going on, and then we'll kind of dive into it. If you're just joining us, we're taking a minute to do this Five Money Personalities co-brand list, a link that I just dropped in the chat again, so you can follow that link and fill out this little survey. All right, if you're just joining us, I feel like a radio host. If you're just tuning in, we're doing a little five money personality self-reflection. I'm going to drop it in the chat again, just so you can see it if you just joined us. And when you've done your five money personalities little thing, you can absolutely share your primary, your secondary, and then a recognition, just how if this rings true for you. So I'll drop these. Oh, just keep spinning. Um, it might just be like there's a lot of people trying to use this link right now. That's completely possible. Is anybody else having a problem opening it or guys?
Hmm.
All right. You can also um, that one is co-branded, and so it might uh take a second. Let me see. And get you the link to just the generic one. Okay. All right, this is just the generic one. So you can go to this website that's here, fivemoneypersonalities.com, and then click take the quiz, and that should let you open it up. On your own. All right, has that link been working? Anybody?
It worked for me.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Tiffany.
And as you finish up, friends, feel free to use the super fun Zoom effects
Uh,
to let us know.
Awesome. Yes. Give me some reactions. That would be fantastic. Okay. Um, so again, if you don't mind sharing, you can share your primary and your secondary money personalities, and then just kind of a recognition statement of like, this makes sense because I'm often feeling like this about money. Thank you, Dana.
Is that true? I'm a saver and security seeker.
Yeah, I know it can feel like maybe I should be better at saving if I'm a saver security seeker. I don't know. That's how I felt the first time. And I'm a security seeker, but I was like, I feel like I'm always struggling with budgeting. It's like a constant fight. Welcome back, Maria. I'm glad it was just a drill, not a real fire. Okay, we're working on this little yeah, 5 money personalities quiz. All right, I'm gonna run through what the 5 money personalities are. And let's see. Okay. All right, so the 5 money personalities, if you're still taking it, continue, finish up. The saver is smart with money, thinks long term, and comfortable being frugal. So your primary goal in life is to make sure that you have enough for tomorrow as well as today. And so you're totally willing to take cutbacks today so that you know you're good for tomorrow. So that's a saver. Spender, they don't necessarily, this says enjoys the finer things. I don't necessarily think spenders are all about like, I don't know, extravagant expenses, but I think it's more like focused on enjoying getting the most out of what you're experiencing today. So spenders are often very generous people. They're often the first to like sign up for a good time. And they could very well enjoy spending money on other people, and that's kind of maybe one of their love languages. Security seeker, they like for things to be safe and they like to have a plan, and they always want to just have some money on hand because they want kind of a financial escape hatch, if you will. Like they're like, I need money for whatever is going to come up because I know something always comes up. They also really are very risk aware. So I wouldn't say they're risk averse, but when somebody comes in with hey, you should invest in this thing, they're not the person that's going to jump on that wagon. They're going to be the person that has a lot of questions before they ever put a dollar into something. Um, Risk taker. This is confident, they're financially savvy, they focus more on investments and high returns, and the idea of being able to earn money is very exciting, and the idea of their money making money is very exciting. That on the extreme end could be somebody who may like enjoy Vegas a lot more than somebody like a security seeker. They're going to have two very different approaches to maybe an experience like that. And then finally, the avoider. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to handle the money. They don't want to plan for the future, not because they are against having a plan, but they are they're completely okay with just kind of leaving it to somebody else to do. And their approach is kind of a head in the sand. Like it will all work itself out. And I don't have to kind of be super involved. So your primary money personality is the one that is kind of your knee-jerk reaction in any situation that has to do with money. That's the first one that's going to come up. But your secondary is going to be if you spend any time thinking about what you're doing, your secondary money personality is going to come into play. I am a spender security seeker. And this totally, when I took this quiz the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. So my moment of recognition was that I often feel very conflicted about how I'm dealing with my money. I feel guilty for wanting to spend money on things. I feel like I should be doing more for my future. It's this constant pull between I need to be ready for tomorrow and I want to have fun today. And that's 100% the dynamic in my brain of like, I just want to go to Target and walk around. And then the other part of my brain is like, get out of this store, go to the park. It's free at the park. The park is free. So, I see a couple of spender security seekers and I feel you, man. This is rough. Saver security seekers, it's the same to feel like I feel like my husband is a saver security seeker and he's always like, I feel like I'm raining on your parade because I'm like, but it's not because he doesn't want to spend the money. It's because he's very content with small wins. He's like, give me a soda from the gas station and a piece of pizza and like, I'm good. I'm solid. It's fine. I don't need a lot to be happy. Um, and so when I want to do something that like is spending a significant amount of money, it not only is not like something he would ever think of, but it kind of makes him uncomfortable. And he's like, I'm nauseous at the thought of spending this much money because we could have just as much fun doing something that was way less expensive. So I love this. You're not really broke, mom. Yes. Last minute fun. I love this. Money saved for a rainy day or last minute fun. That's 100% me when my kids are like, do we really have to wait for payday? Or is this like, you just don't think this would be super fun, so it's not worth your like emergency side hustle money? All right. So I hope this was just like a fun little exercise to kind of get some information back about yourself where you can say like, oh, okay, understanding kind of getting an external validation of how you behave with money, how you think with money it's actually kind of nice. I feel like it's if you've ever done like a Enneagram or something like that where you're like, oh, that is totally how I am. I should probably stop trying to like fight how I uh feel like I should be showing up right now. That is yeah, that's so fun. Just this conflicted view of money, I feel like is very like if it's not hard enough to be a woman, right? Like my personality is not even the same for a whole month at a time. And then on top of that, I'm fighting with my own brain every day on what I should be doing with my money. So, but I do think that the risks that you're taking are also like it's to improve your house. And you're right. Like there's a time when you can take risks and a time when there's just not as much capacity to take on risk. And so there that's a whole concept that we don't really talk about as much as um there's risk tolerance, but then there's also risk capacity. So you have to be able to take it on or else it's too risky. So I love that story. Thank you, Norma, for sharing that. Anybody else? I will share this as well. We have a Spanish version of Know Yourself, Grow Your Wealth. So if you have any clients or any people that you're serving that are Spanish first, we have a Spanish version of it. And we just added the Spanish version of this 5 Money Personalities quiz to that course. So I will send that over to Dana so you guys have access to it because this is a fun thing to be able to share with families and people you're working with because it's like it's a low ask and they get something out of it right away. And then they can continue to kind of discover more about themselves. All right. So beyond your money personality, when it comes to knowing yourself, the course that we run, of course, is called Know Yourself, Grow Your Wealth. And the idea behind that is that in order to reduce financial stress and to increase financial confidence, a big part of that is just understanding how you operate with money and not fighting it. And so instead of fighting your own kind of natural tendencies, set yourself up for, thank you, Dana. Set yourself up for, oh, that is a great question. We're working on adaptive translation, but we're not there yet. I know we should be further along the road with that, but I will keep it in the ear of our development team. So thank you for asking that question. Let me readjust my brain for a second. Sorry. End of the day here in Georgia. And so my brain is a little bit like, oh, you're still working. Oh, yeah. So getting to know yourself with money. A big point of financial stress is there's this gap that we all have in our brain between what we should be doing with money because we know this much, we make this much. This is best case scenario for us, right? Like we're right here. And it seems like no matter what we do, we can never close the gap. Like our actual behavior or our actual financial situation, our actual decisions are just never quite gonna match up to what we think we should be doing. And that's true if our goal is that we feel like we should save this much and we're not a saver naturally. And so we just never quite make it to like this savings goal. Or if we are naturally a saver and we feel like I should be doing fun things with my family and I'm never quite there to spend the money to do the fun thing because it's just not part of your money personality. It's just not part of kind of your programming, like your own preference. So my goal whenever I talk with people about financial wellness or whenever I've done financial wellness coaching, even with individuals or couples, is instead of fighting yourself on this side of like, I never quite make it there, let's work on lowering this expectation of ourselves. Let's start with the assumption that we are doing the best we can do, because if we could do better, we would be doing better. If there are things we're not doing, it is not because we don't care. It's not because we don't want to do the best. Nobody wakes up and chooses financial ruin as their choice in the morning. Nobody wakes up and says, you know what I would really like to do today? Ruin my credit. That sounds fun. Let's do it. That's not how any of this happens. Financial circumstances are just a culmination of so many, like literally millions and millions and millions of decisions and circumstances and unavoidable situations and economic choices made by people in other places that have nothing to do with us. Dana and I were just talking about the price of gas and how the price of gas has a direct impact on how everybody chooses to operate in their lives, but that's not something we're picking. It's just something we have to figure out how to maneuver around. And so that is a big part of financial wellness, is letting go of this unrealistic expectation or letting go of this idea that we have in our own mind that we should be doing it differently. And instead, really take a step back and think, should I be doing it differently? Or is what I'm doing actually the best that I could do given everything? That's a good question. It's a good question to be able to ask yourself, like, what else could you be doing realistically in the bounds of reality that you're not already doing? And one thing that I recognized in my own life when I did this is that I don't give myself enough space to deal with things that come up every week, right? Like I don't build into my budget that it's going to be $12 for a t-shirt for some club that my third grader's in. I don't always build into the budget that I forgot that the year started over and my medications are going to be $75 instead of $37 and I have to get them all filled in the same month. I don't always build into my budget like those little, it just seems like they're small, but at the end of a couple of weeks of that, I just feel like I've been wrung out. Like everything cost more money than I was expecting for it to cost. And then I'm like, I should be saving more. Well, should I be saving more or should I just recognize that it costs more money to be me this month than I thought it would. And I'm still going to do the best that I can, but I probably don't need to put a lot of stress or personal shame in that bucket of like that I'm a failure somehow or that I wasn't smart enough to figure it out. The reality was things cost what they cost. I can't haggle with CVS pharmacy. There's nothing I can do about how much my medications are going to cost. And I'm just going to do the things I need to do to kind of maintain the rest of my life working. And so that's something that I want us to kind of all take into our brain and into our like just giving ourselves a little bit more grace for the decisions that we have to make all the time. And then the second thing is I reframe, and this is something that we do in the course, the online course, Know Yourself Very Well. I say, how much does it cost to be you? Instead of how much do you spend or like how much do you, there is a number that's a real number of what it costs to be you. And the things that are non-negotiable on needs or required expenses in your life are going to be unique to you. So the example that I always use is when I was pregnant, I had diabetes with my girls, and I had to eat high protein, low carb food, and I had to have specific types of food in the house all the time so that I could keep my blood sugar stable. That diet was way more expensive than my normal diet because I couldn't have things that are cheap and go a long way, like pasta and bread and rice. Like I couldn't eat things that had high carb count. And so I was eating meat like all the time. I was eating so many berries. I'm like, man, if I never eat a red berry or red meat again, I will be too soon because they're so expensive compared to other things. I couldn't have bananas. I love bananas, but I couldn't eat bananas. Luckily, I'm not diabetic all the time, but it costs different amounts of money to feed ourselves the way that our bodies need to be fed, depending on what's going on with our health and our biology and our age and our just needs. Other things that are clearly differentiators, if you have to go to the doctor a lot because you have a chronic illness, like it costs more money to be you than it does for somebody who is not suffering or dealing with that same chronic illness. My husband has ADHD, and we as a family have agreed it's not a good idea for us to try and operate without his medication for ADHD because it's harder for everyone. So it costs what it costs to medicate his brain so he can show up how he prefers to show up in life. But obviously, if you don't have that in your life, you don't have to have that expense. So that's one of those things that is reframing the expenses in your life rather than like, I'm spending so much money on X, Y, or Z, and recognizing like these things cost money because I am prioritizing my health, my fitness, my wellness, my diet, whatever it is, those are real things that happen. Or because I live somewhere where these things are more expensive, right? It costs more to get a gallon of milk in Honolulu than it does in Georgia. And that's real. There's nothing that you just live where you live and you pay for things where you pay for things. So those two reframes that I should be doing better all the time and I should be able to have more influence on the cost of things. If we can kind of like relinquish control of those things in our brain and say, actually, that's not mine to own. It's a reality-based situation and I can only have so much influence on this reality. What else can I influence that can help me to make it to my financial goals? So that leads me into identifying your goals and your values. So I talk about this sometimes, and I use the term financial goals and financial values, but I think they're all the same. So our goals and our values are just our goals and our values. They're personally important to us, and we use those goals and values to guide our decision making across all of our life, not just our money. But we may have some additional goals specifically in the money category, but they rarely are if ever, are not really connected together. So it was let me see. I'm trying to find her. Nora? Was it Nora? That just spoke about paying for her niece's college, helping pay for college.
Norma.
Maybe she's not. I don't know if she's still on. I don't see her. Anyway, generosity, sharing, lifting up other folks, that is a value. That's a goal. And so that is something that is just part of who she is. And she does that, I'm sure, because she's done it with her money. I am certain that everyone in her life would say the same thing about how generous she is with her time or with her things or with her attention. And that's part of her value system is really taking care of those people that are important to her and showing up and being generous. So when you are identifying your goals and values, there's a couple of ways to think about it when it comes to money as far as goals go. Carmen,
Sorry,
there you
Timmy,
are.
I'm back.
No,
Sorry.
thank you. I'm glad you're still here. I was like, I'm having a hard time remembering her name. So we were just talking about
Norma, it's Norma, but I'm in Carmen's camera right now.
Okay, perfect. I was like, I did think it was Norma. I felt so bad. I got it so wrong. Yeah, that one of your values is very likely generosity, or that family is you take care of your family, and that people would say that about you, not just with money, but with time. I'm sure anybody who needs something knows that they can come to you and you'll do what you can to help take care of them. So that was an example of, it is a financial value, but it's also just a value of yours.
Yeah,
outside.
no, and I appreciate those words because I'm always saying, I will be rich if I wasn't giving money like I do.
Yes. Yeah. But you're probably super rich with relationships. Like
Oh,
everyone
yes.
in your life will also reach back out and take care of you.
Yeah, I always say my riches are not in the bank.
Yes. Yes. Which is also a real statement, right? Money is only part of wealth. It's one part of wealth, but we all have wealth, a wealth of relationships, or a wealth of in some seasons we have time, and in some seasons we don't have a wealth of time or energy. But it's good to recognize all of those things in your life as like the whole package. It's not just about money. An interesting fact about retirees in America, men versus women. Male retirees have a much harder time because they have not historically put in the invested their time in their relationships. And then they get to retirement and they're like, great, I have money, but I don't talk to anyone. Nobody checks in on me because I've never checked in on anyone else. And they really struggle with the whole idea of like living a life of a holistic, wealthy life. So it's not just that money isn't everything, it's that it really is it's only one piece of it. So taking care of everything and being holistic about it is super important when it comes to goals and values. All right. We're going to talk really quickly about understanding money habits and motivations. One of the best things that I've ever done is I took 3 months of bank statements, like transactions, expenditures, and this is easier to do now. I did this like a decade ago before everything was like super automated and they like kind of do this for you with whoever you bank with. And for 3 months, which there's a reasoning behind that, but I looked at everything that came in and everything that went out and all of the habits. I used 3 months because any one singular month runs the risk of being skewed as a month that's less expensive or more expensive than other months. So for example, if you did this in December, it would probably not be a super accurate representation of what you do all year, because December is an expensive month for lots of us. It's the holiday months, the family, the gifts, the everything, like the travel sometimes, or the hosting. It can be a month that is far more expensive than our traditional, maybe January through November. When I was in college, obviously you don't want to take a month that is like when your tuition's due and then think that you're going to be spending $5,000 out of your checking account every month on one item. It's not very realistic. So 3 months, that's like a quarter of your year, gives you kind of a good benchmark. And somebody else mentioned this, let me find her. It was Shavada talked about having a dollar amount when you leave the house, and she was saying, she'll drop a couple $100s whenever she leaves the house. That was what I ended up with. Is I learned about myself, my money habits, and my motivations. I understood what was a normal day of spending for me, or a normal week of spending. And so rather than trying to think about how much do I have for this whole month, how much is coming in, how much is going out, I started to think about things as far as like, is this a normal day, or is this an expensive day, or is this an inexpensive day? How am I doing this week? And breaking it into chunks like that helped so much, so that I could stop stressing over every time I had to pay for something. I could just start being like, oh, it's okay. Today's a little more expensive than yesterday was, but overall this week we're still good. We're still all right. We're doing okay. So with money habits, with motivations, sometimes it's easier if you can budget weekly, if you can budget even, a lot of people budget by paycheck, but that doesn't always line up with when our bills are due. So budgeting weekly and then thinking about things, doing check-ins every paycheck or doing check-ins every month with your money is a really good way to just give your brain this reassurance that like, I am keeping tabs on things, but I'm not going to be obsessive. I'm not going to log in every single day and be like, what do I have to pay next? And when is that going to come in? You already kind of know the answers to most of those things. But giving your brain permission to kind of disengage from the daily grind of money and focusing more on weekly habits or monthly habits to help you kind of maintain this good flow with money is those are some good rules of thumb. That leads us into managing cash flow and applying financial ratios. So if you would like to learn more about financial ratios, there's a whole section in that Know Yourself, Grow Your Wealth class, and the link for it is up there, the English registration, English login. I think that's the login screen. If you haven't, oh no, that is the invite screen. Okay, if you already have registered for the course, you can just log in. If you haven't yet, you can go to that and register for the course. And in the financial wellness badge, there's a whole section on financial ratios and cash flow. That whole idea is to help us compare ourselves from different points in time, to track our progress over our life. So just like if you looked at your body mass index compared to somebody else's, it doesn't really give you any quality information. Understanding how you compare to some other human doesn't tell you anything about if that's good or bad or neutral for you. You have to track these things as data points against yourself. So you'll want to figure out, how is my cash flow going? Am I making it most months work, or am I struggling most months? Am I paying too much for housing based on how I feel comfortable, what my goals are, and how much I can afford? Or am I doing really well on the housing side, but man, I maybe am overpaying for my car? Whatever you're trying to figure out how it fits together, you'll want to watch those trends for yourself over time. So just like any other data about ourselves, right? Like, am I drinking enough water? How much water you drink is more important to you than how much water anybody else drinks, because they're not you. So if your goal, if your goal with your money is that you want to save, you want your savings ratio to be 20% of your income gets saved automatically, then you can figure out how to make that happen. But then also when you're checking in on your savings goals, you'll want that number to be growing. It might not be realistic right off the bat that it goes from 5% savings to 20% savings. There's probably not enough wiggle room in your budget to make that big of a jump, but you can increase it by 1% every month, or you could increase it by $50 every paycheck. Over time, where your savings ratio is going up. And so that's a big thing around, and I'm not necessarily a super patient person when it comes to like accomplishing goals and setting my mind to things and just being like, okay, we should just do it right now. Much to my husband's chagrin, I'll be like, I never bake. And then one day I'll wake up and be like, I want to learn how to make cupcakes. And then he's like, why are there 75,000 cupcakes in our house? What is happening? So I just have a tendency to want things to be done right away. As with anything else in life, good things take time. So setting realistic timelines for yourself when it comes to financial goals and cash flow and even income increases, whatever it is that you want to do, give yourself time. So I'll just share when it comes to even like building up an emergency fund. So the goal for an individual or family is to save up 3 to 6 months worth of fixed expenses so that you could cover housing and housing, transportation, food, and necessary bills for 3 to 6 months in case something happened to your income. Well, for most families, every 1 month of expenses can take 10 months to save up for as extra money goes. So if we're talking about 3 to 6 months, you could be saving for 3 years, you could be saving for 5 years to get 3 to 6 months of savings set aside. So give yourself some baby steps, some smaller wins, and say, I really want to be able to see $500 in my savings account. I really want to be able to see $1,000 in my savings account, and celebrate those little wins, because it takes time and it takes consistency. And if your goal, we have this, I'm gonna real analog. This is a ghetto. This is old school, but we have this in a video inside of the course, and it's much better. But I will show it here. We call this small steps to big outcomes. So there's 2 ladders, and they're going to the same place. Can you guys see that? Yeah. This one has huge spaces between the rungs. So you're making a lot of progress every time you hit a rung, but it's really difficult to get to the next rung. This ladder also is going to the same place. Let me see if I can, maybe, I don't know. But the rungs are very closely spaced. So you can actually climb this ladder. You can make progress in real time, and it's easy to get from one step to the next, from one rung up to the next rung. And that is 100% how financial progress is made. So if you're making yourself a big goal, like let's think about retirement savings as a ladder, right? We have this goal of retirement savings. Think about your retirement savings in terms of your next win. What's the next little win? What's the consistent thing you can do? And track your progress and just watch it happen, because time really is like your biggest asset when it comes to consistency. So you really just want to be able to make goals for yourself that you can do over and over and over, and then celebrate those little wins, and have some people in your life that you can celebrate these small financial wins with. Like when you hit that next milestone in your credit score and you're like so excited, or when you reach that next milestone in saving for a down payment on a house, or when you had this goal that you really didn't actually get a lot of personal satisfaction or joy out of eating out, and you decide you're going to try and like cut that out of your life, and after 3 months you realize you saved $200 by not eating out as many times. That's a win. That's a huge thing to kind of change your behavioral patterns. So have your person or your people in your life that you can share these little financial wins with, because just like anything else, health wins, anything, if you have people that you share it with, you're far more likely to stick with it. And our brains are wired to kind of find those little hooray moments, those little celebratory moments, and get that little hit of dopamine. So like give yourself a gold star, go to Starbucks and get your favorite coffee, and whatever it is that you're going to do to kind of celebrate your little successes. It is all about the small wins. It's all about consistency. And it's not something that we necessarily, it's something we all know because we live in the real world and things don't just happen overnight, and nobody just like gifts us $1 million. We don't just win the lottery. But there's very much this, you see it everywhere, like somebody that get rich quick idea that like you can start a side hustle and make, $100,000 a year. And you're like, okay, but when and what and how and who are these people and is that real? And so staying in your own reality, celebrating your small wins is super important for financial goals and managing your own cash flow and financial ratios. The last thing that I wanted to do is to give everybody just a few minutes to share with us, like, what is your financial hack? What is the thing that you do that you feel super proud of? That's like your win when you think like, what have I done right with money or with my finances? You can drop it in the chat. You can this is your moment to toot your own horn, brag, share your story, and talk about like, what are you doing with money that's like knocking it out of the park? I know you have some.
Hi,
Hi.
I would like to share.
Yeah.
And bye. Well, one of the hacks I do, and it's been working, it's that I split my check and I have another account that I completely forget about it, because if I have the money, I will really spend it, even if I don't need to. So it's been working. It's on savings, but I also hide the card and I don't remember where it is, to be honest, but I don't want to either. So it's been working, and I know I have the money, so it's kind of like my savings. So
Yeah.
that's my hack.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is when they do research around savings and savings goals and savings behavior, they notice that if somebody even has $100 in cash somewhere in their house or $100 in a checking or a savings account that they don't use, they will make better choices with their spending just because they have the money in savings. So this is a perfect example of that idea that like automate it so you don't have to make the choice every month. It's hard to choose to save every single month or every paycheck. And then move it somewhere that you're not seeing it all the time so you're not constantly reminded and tempted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I noticed I used to save the same amount, but in my other bank account, and it was easy to me to transfer to the check-ins
Yeah.
instead of having in the savings. So that one, it's a better choice for me. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you for sharing, Daniela. And then Martha increased her contribution to her 401k for the last 10 years. That is amazing. This is amazing. Shavada, this is awesome. Automated savings and retirement contributions. This is a huge thing. If any of you want a little just confidence boost on your retirement savings, think about how much you save for retirement, if you have a match, what the match is, and then if you have an HSA account for your healthcare, how much is going into your HSA account, and if that has a match, and put all of that together and compare it to what your salary is. And that's your actual retirement savings right there, that number. We are usually doing much better than we think we are when it comes to retirement savings because we don't necessarily think about the match or the growth or any of that stuff. So give yourself the benefit of like maximizing all of that money that somebody wants to give you. I love this. Pay myself first. Set up several sinking funds and high yield savings accounts for things I want to save up for, like a new tattoo, car emergencies, etc. I love this idea of sinking funds, which is like setting money aside that you specifically know you want to spend on something. It is fantastic to go on vacation and spend money for vacation on vacation and not have to wonder like, oh geez, did I just spend the grocery money? Did I just spend the car payment? Have I just like ruined my... It's lovely. It's a lovely experience. I'm new to that experience actually, but it's a fantastic feeling to be like, I don't have to pull out a credit card or I don't have to do this. I don't have to worry about what this is coming from. Anybody else want to share? Got a couple minutes.
I can share.
Yeah, Kimberly and then Martha.
Perfect. I was just gonna say that we do. Oops, the door is ringing. I hope somebody else can grab it. We do at home we have a grocery app. And so before we go grocery shopping, we always make sure everything that we need on the list, and we always go with the list is if there's a discount, we use the discounts. And we do that every single time we go to the grocery store, or if we're shopping online, we have this account like Rakuten or something like that, where we can actually get 3% back for shopping at regular online stores like Wayfair or something like that. So we're doing a little bit more saving, even though I'm looking for deals. I'm also doing a little bit more saving by going onto a certain website that's going to give me 3% back.
Love it. That's awesome. Thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah.
And then Martha.
Hi. For me, I think the most difficult thing is to think for my retirement. I decided to increase my retirement, like open the account if I want something. So once, if the money gets out before I get my paycheck, so then I don't feel stressed, like if I have to pull it out once I get it.
Yes.
And that was the way that I'm saving. Otherwise, I'm always finding things to spend. Like I need to pay this, pay that. So it was better for me. I don't know if that is working or not, but I still am saving.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Yeah, keeping it out of sight, out of mind is so good for those big long-term goals. And it also does help us reduce stress when we think like even when life gets really expensive and things feel really tight, we can like in our own brain we can be like, it's okay though, because everything that's really important to me, all of those major goals are already taken care of, and none of this craziness that's happening in my life right now is going to derail that stuff that's already happening in the background. So love that so much. The thing that I just want to close on is, I know we're right at time. At the end of the course, we talk about global thinking, grace, and gratitude. And I really just want to add in there that like financial confidence is such a fantastic thing for each of us to think about growing, not just for ourselves, but because there's no generational progress if the women in the world are not making it an effort to educate and change the dynamic of money for our daughters, for our nieces, for our friends, for our granddaughters. So having these conversations and making it more normalized to think and feel and operate within our own sense of reality and our own sense of self, and to say, I do something that I love and I find rewarding and I contribute to the world in this way. And I also prioritize taking care of myself. This is totally the put on your own oxygen mask first situation. You take care of your own needs, and then you have the opportunity to continue to show up in the world and be generous and be wonderful people in your own kind of spheres of influence. So you're all doing it. You're doing it. You're doing so much better than you think you're doing, and you're awesome. And keep showing up, keep being amazing, and continue to celebrate your wins and the things you're doing that are working and that are great. Because all of us have things that we're doing that are really, really good. And then set some small goals for yourself so you can have something that you're working towards, because nothing feels quite as good as accomplishing a goal that seemed out of reach just a few, just in the recent past. So thank you so much for coming, and I'm excited to chat with you guys again at the next meeting. We're doing the Brilliant Borrower, so we're going to talk about saving for a home. We're going to talk about credit scores. We're going to talk about everything in that whole world, including student loans. So anything that you have in mind that you want to learn about with credit scores, borrowing, anything, we'll learn about it.